A preparation option for putting your pieces together is to use the glue pen. The glue stick is actually 1/4 of an inch wide, which is the width of your seam. So I'm going to put a bunch of dots all along the bottom piece within that seam, within the seam allowance. The top piece starts here, and we're going to line up our registration points of those marks as we gradually work it in to line them up. There's one there, so I'm going to ease this top one into the bottom so that it matches the clipped point. And again, I'm going to keep on easing this in till I get to that match point and continue to the end. You may want to just put a pin at the end just to hold it stationary. And you'll notice that this is actually curved, so when you're sewing, don't lay it flat. You're going to actually feed it under the needle in this, following this curve. And that might help make it easier for you to get the stitch properly. As you're going along, you may find that you have to straighten out the bottom piece because it might start folding up a little bit like that. So as you're stitching, you're going to just lay the bottom piece flat again so that it continues to get fed evenly under the top piece. To sew the pieces together where we have glued them, we don't want to try to force this to lay flat. We're going to leave it curled as it is, and we're going to stitch it while it's in that curved state. So we're just going to start stitching along, and I prefer to have my needle down in position so it holds my place whenever I put it down. And as you're stitching, I'm going to hold this, let this curve be maintained, and at the same time, sometimes you will find that the bottom piece is going to start to fold up this way. So as I'm stitching, I'm going to gradually pull the bottom piece flat again underneath. So I'm sort of monitoring that with my left hand while I'm controlling things from the top. And here, there's a spot there that I have to change. And when you release it, you can get things lined up again as well. And this is where having your needle in the down position can make a difference, because it'll hold your spot. Pull the pin out because we don't want to stitch over the pin. And there you have the curve. And this is going to be ironed towards the dark, and you will find that it does actually quite flat quite easily. To sew this without having glued it first, we're just going to start in the normal way, but you will find, and again with my needle in the down position all the time, it helps to keep my spot. As I'm sewing, I'm going to be moving the bottom piece to the left and the top piece to the right, so I'm actually going to be feeding them together to match. And as it's going around, I'm going to find those match spots, mark and get them together, and gradually pull the two pieces to meet and maintain my 1/4 inch seam. Sometimes you may find that you have to pull one slightly because it is on a bias, and you do have that room to pull the top one a bit and ease it over the bottom piece so that you're matching your clipped points, so that you get your curve and your 1/4 inch seam. And you don't want to rush this. Take your time, and you've got a better chance of getting it to match up. And again, it's going to, there's your curve. Okay, now that you've got your squares done for the drunkard's path, of course you can arrange the squares whatever pattern you prefer. You can make it circles, you can turn these all around, so that you've got that kind of a design, or you can put two of them inside. But to arrange the drunkard's path, you want two of them this way and then going this way. And what happens is that you can see that you're actually making a wavy pattern. So when you have a lot of them put together, you've got a very long wavy pattern, which is why it's called a drunkard's path. So you're going to sew the two top pieces together. So these two together, press your seams in opposite directions, and then you can join the two halves to complete the square.